So guys, welcome back to another episode of the Championship Roundup. Now we have a lot of action to go over this weekend. We've had a lot of drama going on, a lot of local encounters to digest this weekend. We also had the game postponed, loads of talking points to go through. I'm interested to get your guys' perspective on the action this weekend. Before we do get into anything though, I want to give a shout out to our sponsors over at OneFootball. I'll leave a link in the top line of the description down below where you can go ahead and check out the app. We do have a game going on tonight in the Championship, that being QPR taking on Brentford, so you can track that game over on the OneFootball app. Looking forward to that game actually. I think it'll be a really tight one. Brentford lately have picked up, but QPR been very strong so far this season. You can also look at all the games that went on this weekend in a little bit more depth over on the app, so I'll leave a link to that in the description down below. And before we do get into the games, I will include your guys' score predictions on screen now. So if any of you did successfully manage to get any of your predictions correct, then fair play. I had a pretty decent week. I got two of mine correct this weekend. I got both the Birmingham against Luton and Preston against Blackburn games correctly predicted, so not bad going from me that week. I'll also leave some polls for you guys to vote on because we had a couple of talking points come up this weekend. But without any further ado, let's hop into talking about these games. So starting out with the early kickoff on Saturday, that saw Sheff Wednesday draw 0-0 against Leeds United. Now this one, despite finishing as a 0-0 draw, both sides had an abundance of chances in this one, and the draw was probably the fair result in the end, although I was surprised that neither side got on the score sheet for this one. Both sides hit the woodwork. Stephen Fletcher was someone who was causing all sorts of problems for Leeds United. Him and Nuhiu up front was actually a really good striker partnership for this one. They were quite a handful for Leeds, but Leeds defended well. Ben White, as he normally is, was absolutely excellent for this game, and Kiko Casilla, you know, last season I was quite critical of him, but so far this season I think he's been absolutely excellent, and in this game pulled off some absolutely fantastic saves. But talking about fantastic saves, Kieran Westwood made one absolutely unbelievable save in the first half. Now Patrick Bamford's goal drought has continued for another week. He's just not on form at the moment, you know. He doesn't seem to be a striker who's playing with confidence at the moment, but in the first half he did have one fantastic chance, a brilliant ball put into the box. He had a header going across goal, and then Westwood came up with an absolutely unbelievable reflex save to just tip it round the post and keep it out. Bamford, to be fair to him, couldn't have done much more in that situation. It was just a fantastic save from Westwood. But continuing into the second half, both teams continue to have chances. Fox had a goal line clearance for Sheff Wednesday. Alioski hit the post, and Wednesday continued to threaten as they went forward. So in the end, finishing as a goalless draw, I thought the point was probably fair. It was two sides who were well organised and who were going at each other for 90 minutes. So the point probably the fair result, but didn't really do Leeds too many favours. I think that's 2 wins from 6 now for them. And then we have Birmingham beating Luton by 2-1. The home side well worthy of the 3 points in this game. Now so far this season, the football that Birmingham has been playing has been a bit of a process. At times we've seen them playing some really attractive stuff, other times it's been a little bit inconsistent, but they were well worth their 3 points in this one and probably could have got more than the 2 goals they got in this one. The opening goal scored by Pedersen, the build up for this goal was absolutely exquisite. Dan Crowley has to be one of the bargain buys of the summer, because so far this season I've only seen, you know, small glimpses of him when I've caught Birmingham, but he was running the show in this game, and the opening goal, what a move. It was a give and go between Crowley and Colin on the edge of the box. Colin got the ball into Crowley, he then chips the ball over about 3 Luton players, absolutely unbelievable ball over the top, and then Colin puts it across the box, and then Pedersen makes it 1-0 to Birmingham. Honestly, Birmingham picked up some absolute gems in the summer, you feel like, and when they are on form and playing this sort of football, it really does culminate into some really attractive stuff being played. But Luton did get back into the game in the second half. Ironically, it was Pedersen, the goal scorer, who slipped up for that goal, allowed Colin to get in, and then a smashing finish to make it 1-1. At 1-1, the game was in the balance. Collins had a very good chance to make it 2-1 to Luton, but his shot went into the side netting. But then Birmingham did go on to get the winner, Lucas Djukovic, this one being a bit more classic sort of Birmingham from what we've expected over them from the past couple of years. A corner headed back across the box, and then Djukovic with a towering header to make it 2-1. Birmingham, though, well worth their 3 points, like I said. Very convincing performance. The home fans will be hoping to see more of that as the season goes on. And then to a massive game at the bottom of the table, which saw Huddersfield beating Barnsley by 2-1. Now going into this game, I was maybe fancying Barnsley. I thought that their last 2 performances before this game, things were slowly starting to turn in the right direction. Huddersfield in midweek looked a little bit tired for that goalless draw they had against Middlesbrough, but Huddersfield I thought were much improved this weekend. Going forward, a lot more energy about them, and Colin Grant's someone who, I mean, if you compare Huddersfield's squad to the other side who are in that sort of bottom of the table region at the moment, what Huddersfield had that sets them apart from those other sides is a top quality striker like Colin Grant. He was so involved in the play today. He set up the first goal for Christopher Schindler, that one coming from a set piece. Barnsley sort of switched off at the back. Schindler was unmarked at the far post. He had the tap in to make it 1-0, but the second goal, absolutely superbly taken. He had 3 Barnsley shirts all around him, just about managed to jinx his way into enough space and then bend the ball into the far post. Honestly, he's got 8 goals, for the season already in what has been, you know, a fairly struggling Huddersfield side. But Colin Grant, really looking forward to seeing what he can do over a full season in the Championship. I think that all Huddersfield fans are excited about him. Jonathan Hogg, another player who looked really good in midfield for them in this game. Barnsley did get a goal back, Brown scoring. It was quite a nice finish from him, but by that point Huddersfield were able to see off this game and hold on to all 3 points. Kachunga had a brilliant chance at 2-0 to make it 3-0 and put the game beyond doubt, but that one hit the crossbar. A good performance from Huddersfield though. Barnsley, you do fear for at the moment, still without a win since the opening day of the season, and I mean, they need to sort out this manager situation because at the moment I can't see them surviving. Next up within Hull beating Derby by 2-0. My inability to predict a Hull City match continues into this week as they do pick up all 3 points when I was backing this one to finish as a draw. But Jared Bowen getting both goals for this game, and Jared Bowen's having a fantastic season at the moment, but we've not really spoken about him too much on the channel so far this season. 9 goals and 2 assists so far this season in all competitions, an absolutely fantastic record. The first goal being scored in the 74th minute, not really a trademark Jared Bowen goal, the sort of goal we'd expect him to score. Normally the ball at the far post and he managed to get his head on it, and the second was a nice finish to pounce on some poor Derby defending to make it 2-0 to Hull. In the first half, Derby did have some decent chances to take the lead, but Hull defended well for this one. George Long, who I've been impressed by for the majority of the season so far, did make some good saves, and Hull stood strong for the majority of it. What I've seen from Derby so far this season, when I do catch a glimpse of them, is it's mostly been Chris Martin up front so far this season, who I think has done well for them, but the 3 that play behind him have just been really ineffective, and those 3 that are playing at the moment aren't creating anywhere near the chances that Derby were creating last season. I think that Derby fans, the view amongst them is that Philip Cocu is the right man for the job. He just needs to be given time there, and working with what he has at the moment, it has been a very frustrating season for them. But in terms of Hull, Jared Bowen, absolute star man for them at the moment, and I'm excited to see how many goals he can bag this season. Then we have Borough drawing 0-0 against Fulham. Middlesbrough now slipping into the bottom 3 of the Championship. They are now the lowest scorers in the league as well. In 14 matches, they've only scored 11 goals. They can't hit the back of the net to save their lives at the moment. In the last 8 matches, they've only scored 4 goals, and they were given the big boost in this one as well. They were playing against 10 men for the majority of it. I've been quite vocal in the fact that I think that Fulham should have given Rodak a chance earlier on the season, as Bettinelli has been a bit inconsistent for them. Rodak didn't really make the most of that opportunity. Fulham were caught out defensively. I think Joe Bryan was caught out of position. Johnny Howson was racing through on goal. Rodak was straight out to come out of his box, trying to close down the ball. He then handballs it outside the box and denies a clear goal scoring opportunity and is shown a straight red card. So after that, Fulham have to rejig their side a little bit, and Borough do have chances going forward. You know, Ashley Fletcher had a good chance. Assombalonga had a header which just went wide. It's just not clicking for them going forward at the moment, and I feel a bit sorry for Middlesbrough fans really, because they've had to sit through, you know, a couple of years of Tony Pulis ball, and now under Jonathan Woolgate and throughout the summer they were promised this new brand of exciting football going forward. Things haven't clicked for them, and for them to be the lowest scorers in the league at the moment, I've not really seen many performances from them when I think, oh, that's going to change sooner rather than later. It's a bit of a worry for them going forward this season. With Fulham, it's a hard performance to judge really, because they were playing with 10 men for the majority of it. They weren't, you know, as ruthless as they were in midweek. Mitrovic had a good header which went over the bar. Another clean sheet for Middlesbrough though, I would add, especially being without Darren Randolph for the second game in a row, that's quite impressive. But for them to be in this position at the table at the moment, Woodgate's got to become under pressure now. And then we have Millwall beating Stoke by 2-0. I think this one was destined really. Gary Rowett to have a masterclass with Millwall beating his former side, and Millwall, I have to say, looked really good for this one. I thought in possession and out of possession they were very good for this one. Defensively, didn't really have many concerns, although that was probably aided by Stoke being absolutely dreadful for this game, and Stoke have been on a bit of a positive slant lately with some of the results they've been picking up, but for this game, really back to square one, and it was probably the worst we've seen them all season. I would say actually a very worrying performance as well, given they were playing against Millwall, who are in a similar region of the table at the moment. The fact that Millwall were first at every second ball, there was so much more intensity about their play. I worry for Stoke at the moment, because if there are more performances like that dotted throughout the season, it will be a relegation for them. Tom Ince is probably one of the most frustrating players to watch in the league. He's got the talent and capabilities of changing the match, but doesn't seem that bothered to do so. But credit to Millwall, they pounced on what was a poor performance from Stoke. Ben Thompson giving Millwall the lead in the 28th minute, Jed Wallace being the provider for that one, and then Jed Wallace wrapping the game up in the second half with a penalty after he was fouled. I am excited to see what Millwall can do under Gary Rowett, because I think that could actually turn out to be a decent appointment for them. You know, Rowett's not had the best career over the past couple of seasons or so, but I think that Millwall could suit him, and I'm excited to see what the future has to hold for them too. And then we have Nottingham Forest against Reading. although we didn't really because this one was postponed. It's a really bizarre one. I don't think it's not very often where you get a postponed match in the Championship for a waterlogged pitch, but this one being called off, bit disappointed. I was looking forward to this game. Reading have been impressed by lately, and Forest could have done with bouncing back from their recent couple of results, but hey ho, that's what happens. And then what a game we had at Deepdale. North End beating Blackburn by 3-2, a game which epitomises the cliche, a game of two halves. For the first half, I'll give credit to Blackburn because they were absolutely brilliant. Preston were woeful, and it was the worst I've seen us play so far this season, but Sam Gallagher bullied our back line for that first half. Blackburn took the lead after just 30 seconds of this one. It went down as a Declan Rudd own goal, but a Sam Gallagher header which came off the post and hit Rudd into the back of the net. Gallagher then made it 2-0 after 11 minutes, a ball through from Bradley Dack, catching out Andy Hughes, who was playing it at centre-back in the absence of Ben Davis, and a nice finish from Gallagher to make it 2-0. I will give credit here to Alex Neil, and this is why Alex Neil, for me personally, is one of the best sort of in-game managers, because when things aren't going his way, he will make that change, and on the half-hour mark, he did bring off Paul Gallagher to introduce Jayden Stockley. And Jayden Stockley, being a player who has been out in the cold so far this season for North End, he's not got a sniff for us at all, but bringing on a target man and a physical presence up front was just what was required for this game. And for the second half, what an impact Stockley had. For our midfielders operating behind the striker, Daniel Johnson, Shawnee Maguire, Alan Brown, and especially Tom Barcusen, to have that player to play off in Jayden Stockley, who won absolutely everything in the second half, was absolutely massive. Christian Walton did make a bit of a howler for the first goal. Donald Fisher cross towards the far post was heading back in by Shawnee Maguire, and then he was caught out of position and Barcusen had a tap in. The momentum by this point had completely shifted. Preston were looking so much more ruthless going forward, and what we've been accustomed to seeing so far this season at Deepdale. DJ then had a penalty, he slotted that away in the 65th minute, and then what a winner, scored by Tom Barcusen, a ball lumped up by Declan Rudd. Stockley chests it down into Alan Brown, he plays the ball into Barcusen, and then on the right hand side with a first time finish into the top corner, bends it past Walton into the top corner. Absolutely unbelievable goal by Barcusen, who's actually having a really good season. That's now 7 goals for Barcusen in all competitions. He wins the game for North End. Preston are now sat second in the table, but Blackburn absolutely crumbled for that second half. And I think the difference between both managers was when things weren't going Preston's way, Alex Neil made a change after 30 minutes. In the second half, you could tell instantly that the momentum had shifted and Tony Mowbray needed to make a change. He didn't make his first substitution of the match until the 84th minute, when Blackburn were then losing the match. Mowbray and Blackburn defensively crumbled for this game, and worrying times for Blackburn at the moment. They're on one of the worst runs of form in the Championship, and all their hard work from that first half, when they did look really good going forward, was completely undone. But Preston sat second at the moment. I'm in dreamland at the moment. Then we have West Brom drawing 2-2 with Charlton in what was a very eventful match indeed. West Brom started out well with Matty Phillips getting on the score sheet, Pereira turning provider for that. Nice little bit of work for him to jinx his way past a couple of players and then put the ball across the box for Phillips to have that tap in. In the first half, probably wasn't the best we've seen of West Brom, but in the second half, they really were turning it on and probably should have gone to get a few more goals. The build-up play, the transitions through midfield was all absolutely fantastic. It's just they couldn't quite get that second goal. Phillips for Charlton, I'll give credit to. I thought he made some brilliant saves, but then Charlton did get back into the game, making it 1-1, and soon after that, Ferguson was then shown a red card. I think the referee initially showed that red card to Dangang, but then realised he got the wrong player. But I do think it was the right decision. It was a very rash challenge. That obviously makes it a little bit more difficult for West Brom, but they did go on to take the lead. A fantastic finish from Hal Robson-Kanu, which looked to be the winner of the match until Charlton came up with a 94th minute penalty stuck away by Cullen. Now, in terms of the penalty itself, I did think it was incredibly soft, and from that aspect, West Brom got quite unlucky there not to go on and win this game. But to be fair to Charlton, they did cause West Brom problems for this one, and I said in my build-up to this game, Charlton were never going to give West Brom an easy ride in this game. Their record against the top 6 so far this season has been very impressive, and another away point on the road, you know, a very tough place to go in the Hawthorns. Not a bad result at all for Charlton. Then for the South Wales derby, Swansea, who has the bragging rights after this one with a 1-0 home victory. Ben Wilmot on his first league start for the Swans, scoring the only goal of the game, and Swansea being really effective from those short corners. That's how the goal was scored. Really nicely worked. The ball chipped in to the middle, and then Ben Wilmot just ghosted into the box unmarked and had a free header to make it 1-0. Aidan Flint and Sean Morrison were just stood looking at each other in the 6-yard box thinking, how's this happened? But like I said, they were threatening from those situations. They hit the crossbar after that, and to be honest, I think that Swansea should have gone to score more than one goal in this game. Cardiff were really poor. I'm looking at the starting lineup for them. I think they probably were missing people like Lee Tomlin and Junior Hoylett for that bit more oomph going forward, but Cardiff's game plan going into this game, I thought they looked to put that physical presence on Swansea, but they were more than capable of dealing with that in this game. And, you know, with Swansea's home record not being particularly great lately, they really bounced back with a statement in this game. I thought the football they were playing were excellent. Some standout performers. Routledge I thought was brilliant. AU, Dyer and Grimes, but everyone put in a good performance for Swansea for this one. And Cardiff really didn't have a lot going forward. They had one decent chance in the second half where Woodman made a good save. But apart from that, in open play, Cardiff were really poor and they just didn't show up for this game. Swansea should have gone on to get more than the one goal they did, but a big result for them. It sees them fourth in the table. They're on the same amount of points as Leeds and Preston, and a good way to wrap up the weekend for Swansea. And then the last game of the weekend saw Bristol City drawing 2-2 with Wigan. Now, Bristol City, despite picking up the point in this one, really weren't at their best. They did take the lead through Andy Vyman pouncing on a defensive mistake from Wigan, Che Dunkley, and Sterling getting in a bit of a muddle for that one, and eventually Vyman followed it in to make it 1-0 to Bristol City. Wigan did equalise before the half was over though, Che Dunkley popping up with a goal from a corner, and he's really been their goal machine so far this season. He got another in the second half, and he's currently their top scorer with 5 goals. Wigan from open play and scoring goals has been a bit of an issue. They had a bunch of chances in this game and against Derby in midweek as well, but from those 2 games, despite having a lot of chances, they've only got 1 point to show from both of them. Having your centre-back as your top scorer, I don't think it's sustainable for a full season as good as Dunkley has been. He's got 5 goals, and the next highest scorer past that for Wigan has got 1. There was one fantastic chance that Wigan had when they were 2-1 up. It was Gavin Massey racing through on goal. Had the golden opportunity to square it to, I think it was Sam Morsey. He literally could have just squared it and Morsey would have had a tap in. That makes it 3-1 to Wigan. That's the game set and done. But for whatever reason, if he didn't see him or not, I'm not sure. He must have got the shout. Decided to go for the shot. Bentley saved it. It's still 2-1. And then Bristol City still have a way to get back into the game. They did improve and step up the tempo for the last 15 minutes of this one, and eventually Pereira scored from a corner kick in the 86th minute, and they even had the chance to win it. Vyman raced through, but his shot was just saved onto the bar from Marshall. That would have been harsh on Wigan if they did lose this game. Bristol City, I thought, were far from their best from this one, but maybe we're starting to see, you know, it has been a bit of a depleted squad with some of the players that got out injured at the moment. That maybe is catching up with them, and the sooner they do get some of those players back into the squad, the better for them. So ending as a 2-2 draw. I think Wigan would be frustrated not to get all 3 from that one. But those were all the games that went on this weekend. Leave your thoughts in the comments down below. In terms of my result of the weekend, a lot of contenders for this one. You know what, I'm going to give it to North End. We came back from 2 goals behind against Blackburn. It was a local encounter. What a way to do it, and we've now gone up to 2nd in the league. And then for my goal of the weekend, I'm going to give North End a double whammy for this one. Tom Barcusen for his 2nd goal against Blackburn Rovers. The match-winning goal in that game. Absolutely brilliant technique to bend it into the far post. Brilliant goal. What a day. But guys, that will now wrap it up for today's video. Obviously, we do have a game going on tonight between QPR and Brentford. Really looking forward to seeing the outcome of that one. I predicted a 2-2 draw, so I'm interested to see if that one comes off. But apart from that, guys, that will now wrap it up. So if you're going to enjoy, make sure you leave a like. It is always massively appreciated. Make sure you subscribe for some regular Championship content. But apart from that, thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.